So the world is patiently, not really, waiting for April 2nd to come along so we can learn more about the Nintendo Switch 2. We, of course, got a little snippet trailer about 2.5 minutes long that showed us a look at the system, but really, for many people, there were more questions than answered. What's the software lineup going to be? How is Mario Kart 9 going to be different than Mario Kart 8? What's with these weird little mouse things on the system that are the Joy-Cons? How does it work? What's going to be supported by it? How powerful is this system going to be? What is it going to cost? When is it going to come out? But like I said, this is going to be an exciting time. It's going to be an interesting time because you're going to be getting different information from a lot of different areas, and the confusion aspect can lead to some interesting conversations. And that's kind of what we're having today, because the Nintendo Switch 2 has gone up for pre-order on one website at a very interesting price point, and there's a lot of people debating this whole situation, so I kind of wanted to share my thoughts on it as well. First time on the channel, hit that subscribe button. So Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders go live at one European retailer with a cheaper than expected price, because of course a lot of people are wondering how much this thing is going to cost. There are people that do believe it will be a $500 system. I don't think that's a smart idea. You know, I think 400 is a bit more palpable, especially in this economy. $50 more than the Switch OLED. You know, $500 is a lot of money for a lot of people, especially considering that this is a new system. You could buy a standard Nintendo Switch, which has a huge library of games that you probably haven't played them all, at a much steeper discounted price. And we all imagine that the Switch will get a price slash once the Switch 2 comes out. So how are you going to balance that? How are you going to convince customers to want to upgrade? Of course, you and I will want to upgrade to it on day one because we're tuned in to the video game landscape, but we're not really the average consumers. We're more so the outliers in this situation, the die-hard gaming fans who need the latest and greatest sort of stuff. Now, this article is interesting because an Italian retailer, my people, the Italian people, are taking a stance, taking pre-orders, and giving the system a price. So an Italian retailer is taking Switch 2 pre-orders despite no release date or price being announced. So basically what you have here is a retailer called gamesandmovies.it that is selling the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, you can see here, there's a graphic for it, for 364.99 euros, which is about 380 US dollars. Of course, that is cheaper than $400, but kind of when you take into account like different regions and different pricing and stuff like that, you know, that's kind of a bit of a different situation. So this retailer is actually taking pre-orders. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself. Well, RGT, you know, this is a retailer, and especially a small retailer. You know, we're not talking about a Best Buy. We're not talking about a Walmart. We're talking about some small regional-based Italian website that is taking pre-orders on this. When you pre-order the system, they take the money from you, and you are guaranteed a Nintendo Switch 2 system through their website. But what I find interesting about this is doing a little bit of digging around over on Reddit. There's actually quite a story that goes along with this website. Essentially, what this website is known to do is known to offer things at a slightly cheaper price point for pre-order than you would get at other retailers. But the interesting thing about it is they also honor those pre-order price points. There's many people over on Reddit who pre-ordered Metaphor ReFantazio through this Italian website that live in Italy. And when they pre-ordered it, some of them got it for like 50 euros, which of course is around, I don't know, 60 US dollars or something like that. Let's just spitball here. And that price point was actually honored when the game came out. They didn't have to pay any additional money. I guess the mindset is to get people to buy stuff from you. Like, I don't really get it, because you would think they would be selling things at a loss. But if they are honoring those price points, then it becomes a more interesting situation, because if it's going to be, you know, if they're saying roughly 380 US for this system, 364.99 euros, I can't imagine that what they're anticipating is going to be too far off from that. You know, if you do the $400 price point, that seems to be more in line with this pricing structure, more so than if this system was $450 or $500. If you're losing, it's kind of like a Walmart situation. It's kind of like a big box retailer situation. When video games go on sale at Walmart and only Walmart, the reason they go on sale is because they're taking a loss on those games. Unless it's an MSRP, a manufacturer setting a worldwide sale or something like that. Like Square Enix comes out and says, okay, this specific game is now $20. If they don't do that and their MSRP through Square Enix is still $40, and Walmart themselves decide to sell it for $20, they're selling it at a loss. The mindset is to get people into the store, because when you go to a Walmart, you have to walk all the way to the back of the store in order to get video games. So you might see something else as you stroll back there, or you might end up picking up another game or something like that where they can recoup some of the money. That's how physical video games and the distribution of them kind of works, especially with new video games. Profit margins are razor thin on new video games. So the whole mindset is, that's why when you go into a GameStop, they want you to buy used stuff. They want you to get accessories. They want you to get, protection plans, because they're not making money on the new games. So I almost wonder if this is a situation kind of like that. And I think if we didn't have like a paper trail of individuals who are like, yeah, I've pre-ordered things at lower prices from this place before, and they honored it. They came through. It was delivered at that price point. It becomes a lot more interesting. I don't think that the system is going to be $380. Like, that doesn't make sense. That there's no logic in that. That's a weird number. If you know anything about the pricing structure of things, $99.99 is what they like to do. $399.99, $449.99, $499.99, $380 is just a weird number, and you don't see many products come in at that. Maybe $379.99, but obviously, Nintendo's going to want to maximize revenue out of this. My whole mindset is, though, if you're talking, when it comes to a $500 system, let's say the system does end up being $500 or something like that, would you rather sell one thing at $500 or two things at $400? You're going to make $500 selling one thing, or you sell two things for $400 and you make $800. Now, of course, there's cost and, how much you put into it and, what it costs to manufacture the product. But at the end of the day, $800 is more than $500. So you're essentially making more profit on the back end of things by selling in large quantities instead of smaller quantities. So I don't know. I just, it seems like you could pre-order if you're in Italy. So, if you're where my family is, San Lorenzello, I'm not saying that right, but if you're in San Lorenzello and you want to order one of these and then send it to your boy, like, you could do that. Like, we are estranged family members. You don't know me, but you know my grandma. She used to run that village over there. And my family still goes there all the time, and like they go and like they just like walk into people's houses, like, oh, you know who I am? This is my father, blah blah blah, and like they just eat. But I find this situation to be interesting because I don't think I don't think the 370 or 379.77 is going to be the price, but I do think it's going to be 400. And the fact that they're already taking pre-orders for this. Like, you could take a pre-order for anything, realistically. I mean, how long have people had, like, Metroid Prime 4 pre-ordered from Amazon? But the whole benefit of the pre-order is getting locked in at that pre-order price point. Because if it ends up being cheaper than what the product actually goes for, some retailers will actually honor that. And it seems like this is a retailer that does honor it. And if they are honoring this, I can't imagine we're talking about $500 for this system. But, it's all speculation right now. It's all just speculation, and that is the fun, that is the joy, that is the beauty of having to wait until April 2nd. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about this? What do you think about the price point? And what do you think the system's going to cost? I mean, really, that's the biggest conversation right now. What is a price point you are comfortable with? If you say anything less than $400, you're going to be waiting a while to play the new system. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.